if you try to warn people that around 20 million Americans will lose their jobs by mid-2020 in late 2019, no one would believe you. Personally, I run a channel called Daily News Report, and I wouldn't believe you. Although I have been warned loudly that this kind of economic crisis is coming, I never thought we would lose a lot of work in such a short time. As I discussed the other day, over a quarter of all jobs in the United States have already been destroyed, and job losses continue. In fact, Boeing is currently in the process of firing thousands of highly skilled workers. Nearly 13,000 Boeing workers, mostly in the United States, are set to lose their jobs in the coming weeks, as cuts as the American aerospace giant take effect. More layoffs are expected, some of which may affect the United Kingdom. The reductions had been expected since Boeing revealed plans last month to slash its global workforce by 10%, or roughly 16,000 jobs. Many of these are very high-paying jobs with good benefits, and they will not be easy to change. Meanwhile, major retailers in America continue to go one after another. On Wednesday, we found out that he decided to file for bankruptcy Tuesday morning. Off-price retailer Tuesday morning filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection Wednesday with the plans to close more than a third of its stores. Tuesday morning had been struggling when the coronavirus pandemic began and went into a free fall when it was forced to temporarily close its locations due to the crisis. Just like Boeing jobs, these are jobs that will never return. At this point, there is no way I can write about all companies that lay off workers. But another example that I find quite remarkable is that even CBS News allows people to go. I'm really sorry, network president Susan Zirinsky said Wednesday on an all-staff Zoom meeting about the cuts. There is not a person who will not be missed. CBS News was hit hard by a round of corporate cost-cutting that saw a single-digit percentage of the network's news staff was laid off, according to an estimate given by network president Susan Zirinsky during a Wednesday afternoon all-hands conference. The corporate elite who owns CBS News was very deep pockets, and Americans are watching more than ever. So it's definitely not a good sign for the economy. Even CBS News feels forced to fire workers. Of course, many unemployed workers are currently suffering deeply because of the weekly big bonuses they receive from the federal government. Today, I was previously directed to a share on a My channel where a new unemployed worker explained how big his life had become because he was unemployed. Before COVID, I was miserable. I had a job working $14.75 for an hour and hated waking up most days. I've since been laid off, but I'm one of those who is making much more by not working. I used to make $550 and $600 per week depending on my hours, but since COVID began, I'm clearing just over $1,000 for a week. My girlfriend is in the same situation, and she's also clearing just over $1,000. Without any work to go, she can spend her days hanging out with her new unemployed girlfriend forever, and claims she couldn't even dream of going back to her old life. Today, we plan to do some hiking since it's going to be so nice out, and I'll be using my new grill to cook up some steak tonight. The girlfriend is kind of a wine snob, so she likes to splurge on really nice reds, which I will definitely be having later as well. I really do not understand people who say they are more stressed or are fighting with their girlfriend or wife more than before. It makes absolutely no sense to me. These have been the best 2 months I have had in a while. I can't imagine going back to my old life and way of doing things. Not happening. The only thing that is not ideal right now is not being able to travel normally, but I only vacationed once or twice a year before due to work or money issues. Now I'm able to save $800 or $1,000 per month with COVID stimulus and bonus, so we will definitely be taking a nice vacation at some point this summer. The bad news for this young couple and tens of millions of other unemployed Americans is that President Trump and Republicans in the US Senate don't plan to extend their unemployment bonuses when they end in July. From this point on, there will be millions of Americans who are unable to pay their monthly bills. In fact, the New York Times is already warning that we will be facing a wave of evacuation when millions of unemployed Americans are running out of state aid payments and legal protections. The United States, already wrestling with an economic collapse not seen in a generation, is facing a wave of evictions as government relief payments and legal protections run out for millions of out-of-work Americans who have little financial cushion and few choices when looking for new housing. The hardest hit are tenants who had low incomes and little savings even before the pandemic, and whose housing costs ate up more of their paychecks. They were also more likely to work in industries where job losses have been particularly severe. Initially, the generous unemployment bonuses that Congress had to help the tide of unemployed workers until this epidemic disappeared. But what if it sticks for several years like the Spanish flu did? And the Washington Post is trying to convince us that COVID-19 has a good chance that it will never go. There is a good chance the coronavirus will never go away. Even after a vaccine is discovered and deployed, the coronavirus will likely remain for decades to come, circulating among the world's population. Yes, this virus can become a permanent crisis, and the elite is undoubtedly trying to use it to fundamentally reshape our society. As long as a certain percentage of the population is afraid of this virus, economic activity will continue to depress at levels well below what we consider normal. As the New York Times acknowledged, an economic collapse is already here and will be incredibly painful.